Well, welcome to the Speaker's office. I'm Mark Eves, Speaker of the House.
President Alfond, President of the Senate.
Senate Majority Leader Troy Jackson.
Jeff McCabe, Assistant Leader of the Main House.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you all for being here. Our hope for the Governor's State of the State this evening was to hear the Governor talk about a positive vision for the state of Maine, something that has been lacking for the last 3 years. What we heard was a lot of reruns of the Governor's failed policies, and that is really unfortunate. We were hoping to hear a lot of vision for the state. People are looking for leaders to have proposals that will develop good paying jobs that will help the middle class and strengthen our economy. But again, my first blush of listening to the Governor's State of the State was more focused on the problem, real dearth on the solution side, and we need to make sure that we are focusing on moving our state's economy forward. So that was my first reaction to the Governor's State of the State.
And I would agree with the Speaker. I mean, tonight we did not hear a blueprint for our future. We did not hear a blueprint for our economy. We heard the Governor once again put Maine in front of our state and probably those listening around the country on everything that's wrong with the state of Maine. And it's very, very unfortunate that he cannot understand how much Mainers want a positive vision, talk about our challenges, but talk about them in a way that people can understand how we're going to move forward. And there was nothing in my mind that made me feel that we have a blueprint to move forward. And it's very, very unfortunate that he took 40 minutes to talk about why we shouldn't have expansion, why we should do another Tabor. I mean, all these different things that I think people either have rejected. We've already had 2 Tabors. Expansion, he misquoted, threw up facts that were just so and not correct. They were inaccurate, and it was just very unfortunate. But it was his night, and he chose to spend it really, really talking about a lot of old failed policies that he's been trying to do for 3 years.
Guys, the open for Eric Russell, Press Herald. The open for business zones was kind of a new one. Talk a little bit about that particular initiative.
Yeah, well, I had spoke about that yesterday. I expected something like that may come. Quite honestly, these opens for business zones are like a little bit of a lawless area where right to work. I think that's more of a twilight zone for the Governor, because I don't understand how it is a good policy to take away workers' rights to actually associate, unionize, work together. We have groups that come here all the time in this capital that are associations. They come here to advocate for their positions. And quite honestly, you know, we have areas of the state where we already don't have any union workers in them. And those are probably the most depressed areas of the state. Mine is a very low union area with logging in it, and there's no one in the logging field that's a union worker. So I just completely disagree with that. Something that you know, I think workers and businesses also need to have the right to associate, and to take that away is just another part of the failed policies that we've heard that isn't gonna do anything for the state.
Would you support that initiative, that particular initiative, if it wasn't for the right to work piece?
Well, we have pine tree zones that there's less tax and things like that already, and so I mean the only thing that seems to be different about that is the right to work legislation. So I mean that's something that I don't want to do, and I don't think it'll help.
And that's apparently aimed at very large businesses, specifically.
Again, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's large or small. I mean, if you're talking about taking away workers' rights to unionize, I think that's just a failed policy that we don't agree with, don't believe in, and I don't think it shows that it actually brings more people into the state, because if that was the case, we'd already have people flocking into the state. We have very little union workers in the state, and that just is not something that's going to be ever a good policy.
And I would say, just to follow up on that, it's a sad state of affairs, and the Governor's economic agenda is, again, a rerun of a failed policy that he couldn't even pass in a Republican-controlled legislature. If his economic cornerstone is to set up these right-to-work zones, you know, I think that is a very concerning, a sad state of affairs in terms of the Governor's economic vision for the state's future.
Marina Villeneuve, sorry, Center for Public, Maine Center for Public Interest Reporting. I was just wondering what you thought about the welfare reform piece and about limiting EBT cards to only Maine.
So we know that we passed legislation last year to do what we believe is the right route to reform, make sure that people have the skills, the education, the job training they need to get back on their feet again. So what we're concerned about is the governor's failed proposals and policies. We know under this governor and in this administration, there's been an increased rate in poverty, increased rate in homelessness, and when you look at poverty and you understand the face of poverty in the state of Maine, it's a single mother with a couple young kids. And when we look at these proposals that have been implemented in other states, they don't do anything to get individuals a job. It just makes it harder for people and increases the barriers and pushes working folks deeper into poverty. So we're open to any good faith solution to make sure that we're improving our anti-poverty programs, but we're not interested in supercharged political rhetoric that really is not going to solve any problems and is only divisive.
Is there anything you heard you agreed with?
Yeah, I think the drug treatment piece, we need to be focused on that. I think that is an issue here in the state of Maine, obviously. We need to make sure that we're focused on that. But I think, again, you want to look at the governor's track record in terms of what he's supported in the budgets. The governor talked a lot about problems, but didn't put forward solutions. And in fact, I think if you go back and look at the history of the last 3 years with this governor, he is taking funding away from some of the very programs that help people fight addiction.
And I want to add to that one as well, because frankly, we're not going to ever arrest our way out of a drug problem in this state. We need to care about these babies, but we also need to make sure that we are providing for both the supply side as well as the demand side. We need to make sure that we're getting health care and appropriate treatment to those people who are drug addicted. And certainly, if we're not able to provide health insurance and opportunities for these people to have interactions with their healthcare professionals, they're never going to get any healthier. And so we need to make sure that we balance what would be perhaps a good proposal to get more MDEA agents on the road and make sure that we've got a balance over here on the demand side so that we can help these people get off drugs permanently.
The other thing that I would just mention that the governor spoke about tonight around education, he talked about legislative proposals that are being successful. He talked about a bridge here that came from the legislature. He talked about dual enrollment, so more high school students can get the credit so when they get to college, they can have maybe a year or two of credit so it costs us. These are legislative proposals that are working. So we are proud of the work we're doing. We're glad that he wanted to talk about them tonight. And we will continue working with him on solid educational proposals that create more opportunities for our students.
And he quoted Roosevelt in the New Deal, and we certainly would agree with some form of the bonds, $2 billion going out to infrastructure and transportation. We know that that provides jobs. That's something we've been fighting for throughout these last 3 years, and we've had a very hard time getting him to agree to just $150 million. So it's surprising, but certainly something we're very interested in with the transportation infrastructure bonds.
Governor continues to villainize Medicaid expansion. So what do you anticipate with that? It seems like the uphill battle continues to be as such in terms of reaching a resolution there. So how do you address what seems to be kind of stagnant dialogue there?
Well, I think what you saw tonight was, again, a failure of the governor to really do his homework. If he did the homework like the other 10-plus Republican governors across the country have done and really saw the benefit to this state, knowing that it'll bring $700,000 a day to the state. We're in the 4th day of February. Because of the governor's veto last session, the state of Maine, already this year, since January 1, has lost out on $24.5 million to date. Lives are on the line, our economy is on the line. The governor is dead wrong on this one, and he has an opportunity to correct course, but he doubled down today about denying and delaying health care for hardworking Mainers to make sure that they can go to a doctor when they're sick.
And is his comment about it costing Maine, was the number 150 million used in the speech during the 3 years? Is that accurate?
I would encourage everybody to fact check anything the governor says. That is clearly
well, what does your number
wrong.
say? What does your number say it will cost the state during the 3 years?
What we know right now is that the federal government's offer is to pay 100% for 3 years. for health care for 70,000 Mainers. That is a fact. That is in federal law. That is going to happen. The fact that the governor says it's going to cost X amount of dollars, I would just go down to our independent analysis, our nonpartisan office here in the state legislature, and look at the fiscal note that was done last session. The state will save money. When you look at independent reports such as Kaiser, over a 10-year period saving over $600 million, you have to make a choice and a decision of what sources are you going to believe. Are you going to believe an ideological governor that is dead set against expanding health care to individuals? Or are you going to look at the numbers of independent, nonpartisan research reports that really tell the true story?
And with expansion, we have never felt the way that we're going to get this is through the second floor. We have since day one worked with Republican colleagues in the Senate and the House, and there are more votes that we are accumulating every single day, having conversations. And I actually think that the governor going and spending, 10 minutes on this tonight probably didn't help his cause, because we can go and now have real conversations with our Republican colleagues about all the misinformation that he just told Maine people tonight.
What about the idea of asking voters if they want to lower taxes? Is that something you'd be willing to consider?
I just want to say, I had hoped to hear a proposal that would really be opportunity for all. The governor talked about creating opportunity for all, but that sounds like Tabor 3. It's something that Maine voters have rejected sometimes, you might say 3 times if you count the Pulaski tax cap, again and again at the ballot box. That's another tired old idea that he seems to be trotting out. And it seems to be more geared towards the campaign than towards what the economy needs right now. And the economy is growing far too slowly. The reality is that we are the 3rd worst in the country, unfortunately, with respect to jobs added back that were lost during the recession. So I think we can do a lot better than to trot out old tired proposals, whether that's right to work or Tabor 3.0 or some of the other things that we're doing.
I think the governor tried that too with his $100 million cut to revenue sharing, which ended up just being higher property tax on people. So I think the people certainly, we're seeing that the people certainly know that the governor's proposal is just wrong and something that is not going to help them in the end.
Did you see this more as a campaign speech tonight than anything else?
I really had hoped to hear some ideas that would move us forward, that would create opportunities for people. But I was disappointed, and I guess I did come away with the conclusion that it was, campaign rhetoric and empty promises. He talks about creating opportunity, and yet the facts say that we're the 3rd worst in the nation, and we know that wages are stagnating, and that the income gap is growing in Maine. There are more haves and fewer, there are more millionaires, but there are a whole lot more people that are in poverty that used to be in the middle class. He talked about compassion, and yet many of his proposals are running exactly counter to that, denying people health care. We have more children in poverty today. We have more homelessness, and so the facts just don't bear out with these proposals.
I don't think the people in Maine can stand any more of the governor's compassion.
I think there really wasn't any solutions. He had an opportunity to really lay out some solutions, have some sort of roadmap or blueprint, but really it was a lot of campaign rhetoric. There was a couple rants in there, and we weren't really sure what he was talking about. So, missed opportunity for him. I guess he used that as an opportunity to give a campaign speech. But, we're here to set policy and do good work with our Republican colleagues. And I'm not sure if we can build on this speech.
Seth Jones, Channel 13. I did not identify myself earlier. I apologize. Going off of what McCabe just said, just to kind of sum up, how do you move forward from this speech with your opinion of it, what it is?
We have a work scheduled for tomorrow, and I'm anxious to get to work.
I think we look for those little opportunities. The governor talked about micro businesses and the needs of micro businesses, and that's what we're working on in the workforce committee. He talked about some of the things that we worked on last year that we can build on. So I think that we try to build from those little glimmers of hope, and we work with our legislative colleagues on the other side of the aisle who have worked with us in the past, who helped us to pass a budget over the governor's veto, to pass some of these workforce measures over the governor's veto. We want to support small businesses. We're working on that. We want to talk about access to college. We want to give our youngest children a strong start. We want to provide health care to people. These are the things that we're going to be focused on, and we'll work with any legislator or governor that's willing to work with us.
If I'm hearing you right, walking across the aisle as opposed to talking across the aisle?
I like that.
I like it.
I like that. Good job. 8:30 in the morning.
I think another opportunity is, the governor's realizing the drug addiction problem in the state of Maine. He's probably only talking about 25% of the solution, talking about the law enforcement piece. If you really ask me, I think that the piece that's so vital is really the treatment piece that Senator Haskell talked about. And I think there's some bills that will come up that will discuss treatment, we'll discuss some other things. And, the governor doesn't have a track record of supporting treatment. And if he wants to have the discussion about drug addiction in Maine, he really needs to look at addressing treatment and addressing programs that work.
All right, one last question, because I think we're...
Andy Parkinson.
Go ahead, Amy.
Andy Parkinson, New Maine Times. Speaker Eves, you've worked very hard this fall on panels regarding the issues facing aging Mainers. Did you find the governor's speech tonight to be extremely light and rather odd considering the aging population?
Well, we do, as everybody knows, we have the oldest state in the nation, but per capita median age, and it is a policy imperative that we address this issue. It is important for our economy. It is important that our parents and grandparents age with dignity, and that is something that I'm going to continue to be extremely focused on, feel extremely proud of the partners that we brought around the table, that it's been a bipartisan effort. It will continue to be a bipartisan effort. We had over 400 people at the Civic Center talking about this. We had Senator Collins doing a video. We had Angus King there. And so really, people understand that this is an issue that it impacts everybody, and it's going to be one that we're highly focused on, not just because of the impact on our economy, but how to make sure that people can age in place and age with dignity. So that would have been something that I think would have been an excellent opportunity to talk about this evening and really put forward some solutions. So,
and I'd like to add something to that, and the speaker doesn't even know this, but Friday I was at the University of Maine. I had an opportunity to visit with a variety of people, including Vice President Carol Kim. And she has put forth for the University of Maine a series of proposals of how the university's research is going to be able to add value to the lives of these citizens who are aging in place in the state of Maine. And there's a very exciting series of proposals that are going to be offered by the University of Maine. What a collaboration to have had the Speaker's Task Force and now the University of Maine stepping up in order to bring some of these things to fruition. And she is on fire to make sure that those things happen. We could have used a little of that tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All good.
Thank you.